Bob was not always the punching bag for the entire world. Believe it or not, Bob was once the most talkative man of all Alaska. He had a great job and a nice house. Everything was going well for old Bob until he met her. Bob married his wife Bobby in the summer of 1980. Bobby always hated her husband and would always interrupt him whenever he needed to go to say something. She asked him questions, but before Bob could actually answer them, she would interrupt. This made Bob become very emotionally distant. It also didn't help that his wife began cheating on him with a security guard named Gordy, who worked at the local mental hospital. Gordy also owned a bear, which is a pet which he used to threaten Bob with whenever Bob asked the pair to end the affair. Bob was fully aware of the affair and was preoccupied as well as his paying job. Now, before meeting Bobby, Bob lived a very normal life. He was born in Alaska in 1958, and he was a straight B student in school, like some other Barry B. Benson after graduating. Bob went straight into the vast world of business. He managed to land an apprenticeship under Humpty Dumpty, the insane and very creepy owner of Kinder Egg Enterprises. He soon, although rose through the ranks of the company and became Humpty Dumpty's right-hand man and director and advisor. He quickly witted in nature allowed the company to make deals with the other chocolate manufacturers, which led them into more money and Bob's promotion. Bob was introduced to Bobby in the chilly winter of 1979, when he was celebrating his promotion at a bar. Bob and Bobby began dating soon after and got married in the summer of 1980. The reason was married so soon is because because Bobby wanted all of Bob's money, and she was a gold digger. She used Bob's money to buy herself a trailer and a dog which could speak. It had a German accent, so it was worth nothing because of that dog could speak English, cost millions upon millions of dollars of purchase. Imagine the grocery bills. Aha! Anyways, Bobby decided to name the dog Mr. Weenie though Bob hated the name. He preferred the dog to be named Winston, but Bobby didn't give any much of attention to Bob or his suggestions. She only was interested in his money. She never actually loved Bob or Bobby's charm. Or his Bobby charm. Now that ain't nice. Also, Bob sadly didn't have a very good relationship with his parents, more especially his father. Because of this, Bob never really knew who his mother was since she left the house to travel around the world with her lover Henry, the Abatos, when Bob was only 2 years old. His father, on the other hand, had a big brute of a man despite being only 4 foot tall. His father's name was Pappy. The real original name anyways. Bob always determined to impress his father in order to get the big thumbs up. Bob could never get the big thumbs up from Pappy, as he hated Bob for getting into the egg business. Pappy wanted Bob to join him as a family business in selling cheese. Bob still isn't got the big thumbs up from Pappy. I doubt he ever will. So sad. Bob sometimes gets the postcards from his mother, which he feeds his pet dog Mr. Weenie by blending them up in Weenie's dog food. Bob's talkative and happy life fell apart, not just because of Bobby, but in reality, she had very little to anything to do with it. The real cause of Bob's downward spiral then came to an instant knockdown of the Great Fire of '82. Here there was a set of fire. I did get a set of box of tissues ready because it's going to be quite of a sad story. I'm actually tearing up just thinking about it. 2 years after marrying Bobby, Bob was fired from the Kinder Enterprise on the request of Governor Shaw Fetching. Despite Shaw being a horrible governor who loves to sing terrible tunes without smoking candy cigarettes, Shaw saw a lot of powerful friends. Those friends happened just to be Humpty Dumpty Shaw, who hated Bob and making the crude remark about the dear governor a company Christmas party, even though Bob was heavily high on crisps and buns at the time. Shaw led Humpty to say that Bob was working for a spy for John Redcorn, who planned to ban Kinder eggs and Kinder from the face of the earth. The next day after lunch, Bob was called into Humpty Dumpty's office for an important meeting. Bob entered the office to see Humpty Dumpty. Was glaring at him with a sinister Humpty kind of glare that a mother would love. He rose from his chair and walked over to Bobby while proclaiming, "Chocolate, boy." You see, Humpty couldn't really actually speak proper sentences, so he had to have an incredibly nervous man named Ping act to translator. "Mr. Dumpty is very angry with you, Bob," Ping said before continuing with, "I am sorry to tell you this, but you're fired." "Fired? But why?" Bob asked, as Humpty Dumpty replied with, "Neon grubby." Ping cleared his throat and said, "A contact told Mr. Humpty that you were feeding the company's secrets over to John Redcorn." He continued with, Mr. Redcorn has been a major thorn in the company's side for years, and I'm sure you're aware." Humpty then bellowed, "Oi!" Then he began to grab Bob with an immense strength, but it was stopped by Ping when he allowed Bob to escape. Shortly after getting fired, Bob lost his house and he had to move into a grubby trailer, which of course Bobby had bought with the last of his money. Bob also didn't have any insurance despite the real estate agent Richard Beck, who strongly recommending to him. He had to live in a crap hole in a trailer until he can get back up on his feet. This sadly still yet to happen. This also so when Bobby started beginning her affair with an evil security guard known as Gordy, Bob was still furious with the fact that he got fired for something he didn't do. He knew fully that Shaw had been the one to set him up. Shaw always hated him. Bob began plotting for revenge against the drinking buddy Herbert Chapman, who still loves the fire. Bob and Chapman began scheming to set the fire on the Kinder Enterprise building. This, in Bob's mind, was the ultimate revenge. He could not think of anything better. The day getting fired, Bobby and Chapman sat in the Starbucks across the street in the building as Humpty Dumpty and Ping closed up for the night. Bob and Chapman watched over for them and left them into the order and just to make sure the coast was clear. They left Starbucks and ran across the street to the front gate of the building. Bob still had the security card on him, which allowed him full access to the building any time. Bob and Chapman made their way inside the building, carrying over very large, heavy bottles of gasoline. The pair poured gasoline all over the floor. However, just as Bob was about to set the place ablaze, he received a phone call from Humpty Dumpty. "Me sculpture now," Humpty said before the phone handed over to his translator Ping. "Mr. Humpty would like to say sorry, Bob. We just found out that Shaw was lying to us about you working for Redcorn. So Mr. Humpty has decided that utmost wisdom and rehire you for twice the pay. It's our only way of saying sorry. What do you say, Bob?" Before Bob could respond, Chapman lit the dreaded match and set the entire building on fire. Bob and Chapman were forced out of the building by the roaring flames as the building collapsed on the ground within minutes. Sadly, right behind there, the Kinder Enterprise sat in the entire village. The houses in the village were all from straw due to Mayor Pig advertising them to do so. "I'll get the corn," Mayor Pig sang as he was saying the entire village legend ablaze with the fire. The very next day, Bob moved out of town and with his wife into the woods. He faked his death for paying Chapman to say that Bob died while trying to stop the fire. Humpty Dumpty wasn't affected by the loss of the building as his company was still making millions upon millions of dollars. Meanwhile, Bob fell into despair. He then wiped out the entire village and lost his chance of getting his job back. This is what led Bob to losing his voice. The Great Fire of '82 had changed Bob. The fire was all over the news, newspapers, radios. Chapman, meanwhile, moved to Los Angeles, where he got a job working for a property tycoon Leadman Murrah. The LAPD were somehow aware of Chapman's involvement in the fire and kept a close eye on him 24/7. Shaw, meanwhile, was well aware that Bob had been responsible for the fire, actually approved him doing it. The night after the fire, Shaw went out to celebrate by running over for a deer on the freeway. He placed the deer right in front of his truck and danced around it right admiration of Bob. "Oh, Shaw, you've been living in the woods for too long," Gordy joked as he whistled Shaw dance. Meanwhile, while Bobby was happy to live in the woods that Mr. Weenie could run around freely, she got a job as a priest at the local church. Yes, there was a church in the woods. Archdeacon James Pinkerton had placed the church in the woods as a big fan of animals. He just had a pet lizard who ate Pinkerton's best friend, the cowboy Chin. The guy's name was Apple Chin. Bob liked living in the woods, however, but as soon as he got used to his surroundings and the local wildlife, he became something of a bird watcher. I should also mention that Bobby had kept some leftover millions from when Bob was working from Humpty Dumpty. She used the money to buy a hot tub and a car. Bob liked both of them and often relaxed in the hot tub with a glass of tomato sauce. Yes, Bob did drink pure tomato sauce. That was just because he was one sad, strange little man. Man, he has my pity. As I said earlier, if you were paying attention, Bob never speaks anymore. Ever. Well, sometimes he even tries, but Bobby always goes out of her way to interrupt him. Even Mr. Weenie goes out of his way to interrupt Bob by saying, yeah, me want a sausage. He hates his wife for everything she always interrupts him. The only time he has spoken the last 38 years was when he sang the country road after finding Mr. Weenie. Then went missing once. Country Road is Bob's favorite song, and Rocky Road is his favorite ice cream. I'm sure old Mikey would agree with that. Bob has also got some quite of insane after becoming addicted to crispy buns, which Bobby makes every Tuesday night. He can't get enough of them. He'll dance around the house like he's a madman after eating just one of them. Bob had also tried to get work after getting fired from making partnership with Goofy all the people. You see, Goofy wanted to catch Bigfoot and wanted Bob to find some footage of Bigfoot but had been sighted in the area. Bob happily accepted it as he was very high on crispy buns at the time. Bobby was also determined to help Bob for once with the filming. Shaw actually came to visit Bob while he was filming in order to say sorry for getting him fired with the Kinter Enterprises. Shaw then arrived at the trailer when Bob and Bobby were having a campfire with Mr. Weenie. When Shaw tackled Mr. Weenie to the ground, he was deathly afraid of dogs. He was attacked by the smelly bulldog when he was a child. Well, at least that's what Shaw claims to what happened. Not in reality. Shaw saw a bulldog sitting on top of his truck one day and said, "Churchill could save your money on your car insurance." "Oh no," Shaw cried as he ran down the road crying like a little girl. You see, Shaw for some reason was absolutely terrified of car insurance. It was car insurance that once killed his father. Actually, it was his father. That makes no sense, but whatever. "Oh yes," Churchill proclaimed at the very top of his lungs while watching Shaw run down the streets. "I'm sorry about that massive danger. Where are we?" "Oh yes." Oh, so Shaw tackled Mr. Weenie to the ground before getting reprimanded by Bobby for doing so. "I've seen the future," Shaw said as he began to tell a reality-boring story about a beaver who refused to let a bear and a deer cross his fort from the tree bark. It was so boring that Mr. Weenie fell asleep on it. However, because they were both stupid, Bob and Bobby loved the story and proceeded to explain about their request for Bigfoot to Shaw. "Or for Pete's sake," Shaw muttered as he left the pair in insanity. So Bob's insanity made them very reckless and careless for his actions. For example, Bob allows Mr. Weenie to drive his car despite Mr. Weenie having no arms, therefore being unable to drive. Once Shaw was driving alongside, Bob was at the wrong side of the road and he was trying to overtake him. Shaw looked over at Bob's car and he saw Mr. Weenie just chilling out of the driver's seat, even though there was no touching the body of the steering wheel. "Huh?" Shaw muttered as he ended up driving this truck to a nearby ditch. "Poor old Shaw. Let's make a moment of silence for Shaw. Actually, no. We got good things to do." Bob also was rivals with the hot tub owner, Pete, who wanted it back for some reason. Bobby was able to make a deal with Pete. Pete was able to use the hot tub whenever he wanted, just as long as he didn't take it away from her. One day, Bob got inside the hot tub and was relaxing when he saw Pete's big, fat, booming body standing over him. "Enjoying the view, eh, Bob?" Pete then make his way to the bathtub after flying into the air and jumping in. Bob got out of the bathtub as Pete said, "Remember, Bob, keep her under your thumb." Now, regarding with Bobby's affair with Gordy, Bob was fully aware of the affair and was secretly plotting to kill Gordy. He was only stopped through because he was thinking about the bear that Gordy kept as a pet. The bear was also accidental BBC actor, which made killing Gordy a very hard task as for able to pull it off ineffectively. Perhaps Bob would pay Shaw a visit to kill the bear for him. That bear would actually save the deer from the front of Shaw's truck. As the deer had not died from being run over, Shaw had planned on finding and killing the deer, that as well as killing the bear that freed it. Also, Shaw was a smart in running over the deer with a major mob boss. He tackled the bear to joining him in criminal activities by robbing up a store in Walnut Pass. Sadly, the bear protected from prison because he was Gordy's pet, and the deer was protected because Gordy was corrupted by this payroll for the money. I'm sorry for getting distracted yet again, but to be honest, there's not much more I can say about this for old Bob. He is quite pathetic little creature, so pathetic that he would fail miserably on getting Bigfoot footage for Gordy, for the footage that was obvious eventually made by John Marison, who had been taking fishing at Lake Destiny in Ohio. "Lake Destiny, Idaho," he Goofy proclaimed. While he was taking John fishing. While fishing, he saw Marison and Goofy were chased down by a vengeful Bigfoot and was not happy. In his information of being spread online, the pair were set to escape after Bigfoot stole Goody's MP3 player and began dancing to the classic 1970s music. You see, I did it again. Bob is such an uninteresting little piece of a gum that I can't even whatever. Bob is so no longer as the man he used to be. He is such a shadow hanging over him. Bob doesn't even own a shower, meaning that he has gone with Mr. Bean. Once Bob got a call from the company that had been applying for the shower with Mr. Bean. Mr. Bean picked up the phone and said, "Oh yes, Mr. Grierson, Bob is in the shower with me. This is sadly the last time Bob ever got another job offer. Thanks a lot, Mr. Bean. You even not a real bank to Bean. So if you were out in the woods and you see Bob's trailer, pay him a little visit. Tell Bob he is worth so much more than provincial life. Then dance with him like if he was nothing but some kind of Ibis or Scrooge. Let Bob know how he feels appreciated, and if you do, then maybe, just maybe, we can get Bob into going back to the man he used to be. But I just have to have one very important question. When do the cows come home, Bob? When does the cows come home?" And that, my little pretties, was Bob's Tragic Life, a open season funny pasta, written by Matthew Bumford. I want to thank you, Matthew Bumford, for the story. I really do appreciate you writing the story. Now, I really do appreciate that. Thank you so much. Now, my final thoughts on the story. I actually thought that this pasta was actually really funny. Oh, man. Well, I could definitely say that, this was a really good open season funny pasta. There is a lot of time and effort into the story, which I could definitely say that this story was actually really good. Now, the thing I could definitely say that I liked about the story was the good grammar, the storyline, the sentence structuring, and the paragraph structuring. Everything about it was just flat out amazing. Now, I could definitely say there's a lot of time and effort put into this funny pasta. And what's the funniest part is, it's a good open season funny pasta. I did try to find another open season curry pasta at one point. I think I did narrate one at one point, but that one was garbage. Not this one, but it was a different one. and I don't remember what it was, but I think I did narrate it last year or something. Well, might have been a year ago. Anyways, I don't remember. But I can definitely say this one was actually it was really good. This pasta actually did a lot of good job. And I know I'm not supposed to be laughing, but I understand this is a funny pasta. But it is sad at certain parts. Like, I do feel bad for Bob for going through all the stuff that has happened to him. You know, I honestly feel very sorry for him for all the things that he's going through. Like, I do really feel sorry for him. I do. And I honestly hope that that things get better with him. So, that's one thing I could definitely say. Now, is there another thing I like about this pasta? Well, I like the fact that, you know, there's time and effort into the pasta. That's something I can definitely say. There was a lot of time and effort put into this story. The concept was really good. The grammar was good. The sentence structuring. The storyline. Everything about this story was just flat out amazing. Like, I could definitely really say, you know, I have not seen open season in like a really long time. I think I did see it when I was a kid. Probably around maybe 7 or 8 years old, maybe older a little bit, but it's still a pretty good movie. I could definitely say that this pasta actually was pretty good. It is sad at certain parts, I know, but I honestly feel bad for Bob. At the same time, this pasta was just flat out amazing. Like, I'm really liking to see more open season funny pastas. If I could find more open season funny pastas, I definitely would. This one does a really good job, and I honestly do have to say there was a lot of great concept to it. Like, the concept was just flat out amazing. Now, it's pretty messed up. Like, I'm saying right now, what Bobby is doing to Bob, it's messed up, and what happened to Bob is really messed up, but also really sad and a bit crazy at the same time. Like, I'm going to be honest, Matthew Bumford, you did a really awesome job with the story. There is definitely time and effort into the story, and that's always a very good thing. Now, anyways, since this pasta's long, I'm trying to keep the review as short as I possibly can, but let's wrap up the review since I kind of explained what I liked about it and stuff. Now, I'm going to say this right now, and like I always continue to say, this is simply my own personal opinion, and if you disagree with me, that's fine too. We're all entitled to our own opinions in regards to these creepypastas, or funny pastas in this case, and this is simply my own personal thoughts. My final rating of this story would have to be 10 out of 10. Just a full out 10 out of 10. It's a great funny pasta. There was definitely time and effort put into it. The concept was great. The grammar was awesome. The storyline was worked out very well. The flow of it was just beautiful. Everything about it just had a lot of time and effort into the story. There was definitely effort put into the story, which I'm proud of, and there was a lot of time in it, which I'm definitely proud of that as well. Okay. Anyways, excuse me, pardon me about that. Anyways, what did you all think about this funny pasta? Did you all enjoy it? Did you not? Also, what we have done personally to help make this story a lot better? Leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section down below. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's episode. And if you're brand new here to this channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe because I make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell to when I upload so that way you guys don't miss an upload, or at least a notification to when I upload. And as always, please roll the outro because I'm out of here. And I will be seeing you all in the next video. Peace out.